moving on to our next review. Also kind of in the medieval vein. This is more in the realistic vein. We watched an old movie, not that old, from 2005 by Sir Ridley Scott on my new Blu-ray of Kingdom of Heaven, starring Orlando Bloom and Ava Green. It's an all-star cast. Jeremy Irons is in it. He's not a big role. Cast. Liam Neeson is in it.
It's got a great cast, but I don't know. To me, it's too many bros.
Yeah,
not enough hoes.
But this is supposed to be a historic. This is a period piece during the late Middle Ages.
There were women,
and it's about the Crusades. So it's all about men fighting in the army. It's all about knights, right?
Well, it's got one woman, another woman. You see her face, and she says like 3 words, and that's it.
Well, there's a dead woman at the beginning. By the way, we're gonna spoil this because this movie is
a woman in a field that turns around and says 2 words. And then there's the main woman. It's a bit like...
Who's the woman in the field?
Sister.
Oh, yeah. No, she doesn't say anything.
Yeah, there you go! I thought she said 2 words. I was hoping for it. I mean,
just no, she did. She said her name. She introduced herself.
There's one woman in the whole film.
Brendan Gleeson is in it.
Yes, there's a lot of men in it. To me, I mean, I did not like it. It's not for me.
No.
But I give it some things. I give it that it has the right scale. It has the right scale for a movie such as this, which so many movies these days, I don't know if they're cheaping out or whatever, they don't have the right scale.
Oh, Dr. Bashir is in this.
Oh, yeah,
what's his name?
Alexander Siddig.
Yes, I mean, I was surprised that he showed up. He's great in it.
Into medieval stuff, this is medieval.
Oh,
I mean, it's supposed to be 1198, is it? Perhaps.
I think it was 1164.
Something like that. Well, it goes
11 something, and it's got Edward Norton in it. I'm not going to tell you who he is, but see if you can. If you watch this movie, see if you can spot who Edward Norton plays.
He was a mixture of like Marlon Brando and Peter Sellers, the weird voice that he was doing.
Now,
I don't know.
This movie is 2 hours and 25 minutes long. So it's a bit long, and it's definitely a slow burn. But it leads up to the Siege of Jerusalem.
I guess so. I did not like it, but...
No?
No.
And it's rated R for violence.
It's not for me at all. But I do give it, he has the right scale. He has the right scenery. He appears to have the right materials. I mean, you can tell me, medieval people, if I'm right or not. It appears that he has the right scale to do this movie. I don't like the dialogue a lot. I don't like all the men and all the killing and stuff. It's not for me. But what he set out to do, he has done properly. I will give him that. Yeah, it's just not for me at all.
It's well made.
It's not for me.
I mean, who else is making a big medieval epic action story? I mean, it's not a big action movie. It takes place during the Crusades. And it's all about, it leads up to the end, the Siege of Jerusalem. And the siege was great. They did it really well.
There's one thing...
But it's violent and gory.
There's one thing I don't like about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that the main character is too good at fighting.
Yeah, he's a Mary Sue.
He's too good at it.
He's this guy. He's a blacksmith. Apparently, he must have gotten a lot of training at some point.
He wouldn't have. That's the problem. That's the only problem I have with it. He's a simple guy from a very simple time in 1168.
Yeah, they wouldn't even be able to read.
He would not be as sophisticated as they let him be. That is my problem with it. I think he should be like a Forrest Gump. Yeah. That would have been better.
As the movie goes on, he seems to just become like exponentially better at everything.
Yeah.
And his character reminded me of his character from Pirates of the Caribbean, because that character was just too
He's like the chosen boy.
He was just too good at everything, and he was just didn't realize the consequences. Everything has to be done, has to be good, and I have to make sure. And he's just all too much about his conscience and his principles.
This is the way the director made him act this way. I think what it would have been so much better is basically this is just a poor little blacksmith from a little village.
In France.
And it would have made much more sense if just because of his status they assume what he's saying is really smart, even though he didn't say very much. He doesn't say very much in the whole thing anyway.
No,
but
he's
that
kinda
would have
stoic.
made way more sense, is that he's like a Forrest Gump. Like, people just go with him, you know, and the things that he says. Because he's too smart. He's too skilled.
Well,
He could be handsome, sure.
I
but
think
it's
this
just
movie
the
would have
part I don't
benefited
like.
if, when he becomes a baron, because he inherits his father's land and title, so he
Yeah,
becomes
yeah,
the
yeah.
Baron of Evelyn. If when he's there and he's hanging out with his knights, if he had done a lot of training with them,
Yeah, he did a tiny bit
instead
of
just
training.
he's
with them.
working on his land all the time, so it shows he's just a normal guy and he wants to make
He's
his
too
land
good.
better. But
And
he's
he's
just
a military strategist all of a sudden,
Yeah,
too. Like,
that made no sense.
I think it would have made more sense if they
Now-
just kept on propping him up. Because it's basically showing, too, that it's also a classist movie. It's about class and everything as well.
Oh yeah, well,
Because, I mean, he's nobody, and then all of a sudden he's everybody.
I wouldn't necessarily say he's nobody, because he's not a serf. He's not working the land, but
He's
in
just a guy
the
in a
Middle
little
Ages, he is a
village.
blacksmith, so he does have a trade. So
Well,
he's a little
everybody
bit
had
better
a
off.
trade back then.
No, a lot of people just work
In
the
peace-
land and
if you were in
were serfs.
peacetime and weren't getting overthrown by Vikings.
Now
or
listen to
something like
this.
that,
So
you
this
would
movie I mentioned
just
is
be a
2 hours
person.
25 minutes. The director's cut that I got on my Blu-ray disc here is 3 hours and 10 minutes long.
I
Ridley
just
Scott
wanted it
loves
to
to
be
do this.
over. I just want, however, it
We
has
watched the theatrical version.
so many people in it, like, so, or I don't know if they're computer generated or they're real people. That is really what these battles would look like. We see battles on film and they don't have enough people in them.
All the
know?
background people are CGI,
Yeah,
and
but
it's
he
just the people in the
CGI'd
front
them
that
right.
are real.
He CGI'd it right, because
So-
it really does show the epic battle that really would have happened, and we don't see that.
And they got the
Very
siege towers with the
Everything
ladders.
is very
They got
technical.
the trebuchets that they used
Oh,
to
yeah,
pull
yeah,
the siege towers over.
And they would
they
have had
got
oil.
this- they
They
got
don't really
this
show
oil-
the oil, but
They do
would have
show a bit
had
of the oil and the fireballs from the catapults,
Yeah.
and that's
They're
I don't
like-
know exactly what it's called, but it's essentially a medieval version of napalm.
It's like a pyroclastic bomb or something.
But in
Of a
addition to all,
volcano, but
okay,
it's man-made.
but think about this. Listen to this cast, okay? Orlando Bloom, Eva Green, Jeremy Irons, David Thewlis, okay? Brendan Gleeson, Martin
I don't know,
Secaucus.
there's
He
lots
always
of-
plays a great
it's all
villain.
men, except for one
Liam
girl.
Neeson, Edward Norton, Alexander Siddig, who's Dr. Bashir from Star Trek. Doesn't that sound like an amazing cast?
It is, but it's way too many men. And the main character is way too smart and way too suave. And I give it on scale, I give it on authenticity. However, none of them seem very religious. This thing about Jerusalem, none of them seem very
They're all
religious.
using the Catholic Church as
No.
as a scapegoat so that they can
Goes
go and
there
commit
'cause he's-
murder and
no,
genocide.
That's not what he goes there because he's supposed to be getting,
Okay.
like, basically because he murders the priest in this really right away. Like, he doesn't have a second thought to that. He's not a very good guy, and he's kind of stupid for doing that. And then all of a sudden he turns into a genius, and he's a military strategist. And that's the part I don't like about it.
So we'll wrap up this review. That's our thoughts on this movie from 2005. What rating would you give this?
Well-
I would.
It's not for me.
No, but what rating would you give it? Best
Okay.
movie, worst movie ever on the internet rating system.
For Christine, it's like a 65 for me personally. However, recognizing what he's achieved in this movie and everything, I give it like a 90%. But I don't really, it's not for me at all.
That's not for me.
No.
Okay, but it is good cinema, is what you're saying.
If you're into medieval stuff, it's probably you lap it all up.
Okay. Yeah, no one else is making something from this time period.
It looked
And
hard to
I
do.
give it best movie ever. I have enjoyed this. I saw this in 2005. I've seen the director's cut, which we watched the theatrical version. So imagine
Thank
there's
you.
even more. And it does explain more and it makes more sense, but it's long.
It's long.
I enjoy this a lot. And it's just one thing that I've kind of watched over the years. So that's why I got a Blu-ray copy. It was on sale for like $5 or something. So why not? Have you seen Kingdom of Heaven from Sir Ridley Scott in 2005? If you have, let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Maybe you loved it. Maybe you absolutely hated it, even more than Christine.
Oh,
Who knows?
It's an achievement. However, I just don't like the topic. I don't want to see people chopping each other up with swords and stuff. It's not my thing.
It has a 72% audience rating, but critics hate it 39%.
Yeah, because the main character makes no sense.
Well, let us know your thoughts.